Right, okay, so let's start in Sukhasana. So Sukhasana originated because the gurus at the time, thousands of years ago, probably sitting around campfires or whatever, they worked out that this was the most comfortable pose for them to sit in. Now, it's not in a modern day necessarily the most comfortable for everybody else, but certain cultures would sit like this still, and it is the most comfortable for them. So easy pose, it is called. But it was the first pose because it was there for us to meditate and to connect with our inner selves while we were in a most comfortable position, so that your gross physical body that we did the other day there isn't shouting and yelling at you, feeling strained or pushed or in the wrong position. So that's the thought process behind Sukhasana. It's there to make you feel comfortable. So if you're feeling at all uncomfortable in Sukhasana, then you need to change, because the reason that you're here in this position is to find comfort. So maybe you need to lean against the wall, maybe you need to take your legs out in front of you, or like I would do often is sit, whoops, can't do it quite now, sit like that. It might be that, it might be you want to kneel. Wherever you feel that you're most comfortable. That was a bit early for me to do that, anyway. So in your Sukhasana, we're going to use this morning as a kind of meditative position just for the breath practice. Then we'll take that breath practice, which includes our mantra, and we'll take it through the class. And the idea of it is a moving meditation. So the mantra that we're using is the one we've used a lot before, is Sata Na Ma. So it's on the exhale that we say these tiny little words. Sa on the first exhale, ta on the second, na, ma. Can you try and say them out loud for me this morning? Nobody can hear you, hopefully. It just gives a bit more resonance then through your throat and through your, it just connects you more to the sound. If you feel uncomfortable with that, just say it in your head. So what the meanings are: sa, birth; ta means existence or life. Birth can also mean beginning, doesn't need to mean the physical act of birth. So sa is birth or beginning. Choose your words as you want them. Ta is existence or life. Na is death or transformation. It can be the change that comes through that. And ma is rebirth, or it can just be experiencing and connecting with your spirituality. Doesn't need to mean a divinity necessarily. So we sit cross-legged with the hands. Start maybe in chin mudra, which is your thumb tip and your index fingertip just together, and palms facing up the way, so that you can feel the energy of stuff around you on your palms. The sort of gravity is one energy that you'll feel there. And just notice your breath. Find yourself and make sure your posture feels corrected, so that you've got the space to breathe. So it's not a forceful breath we're looking for this morning. It's very gentle, even breath. When you're ready, start to control your breath, taking it down comfortably to as far as you can in your body and exhaling from there. Doesn't need to reach your belly straight away, just ease into the breath practice. And then on the next exhale, we're going to start with the mantra, and I'll do it with you just so that you know. So we're going to start with Sa. So when you're ready, it's inhale. Sa. Just to the bottom of the exhale, start with another inhale. Next one is Ta, existence or life. Ta. And then another inhale. Na. Let's say the transformation and death. And the next one is Ma. So just continue playing with the sound. for 2 or 3 rounds more. I'm not going to do it with you because I might be at a different stage of the round. So just continue with Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And just enjoy the sounds. If it's making you feel really uncomfortable, keep going with it. See how far you can get before you think, no, I really don't want to do that. And then just say the words in your head on the exhale. Some of us, even on our own, can feel very self-conscious. And it's not a judgment thing about that, but just be aware if that's the way things make you feel. You're maybe just not ready to put yourself in the spotlight. But if you can play with the sound, you can feel the reverberation of it in your jaw and in your throat and maybe up into your cheekbones, a little bit like Brahmari bee breath. So physically, you're moving things around in your vocal box, in your throat, in your glands, etc., in that area, in your sinuses rather. So you're moving energy around just by shaking it up a little bit physically there. You're also connecting, therefore, the sound with the body, and your mind will be therefore connected by that sound with the body, which is what we use the breath for. The breath is the bridge between the mind and the body, and today we're looking at the third kosha a little bit more. We did mainly the physical one yesterday, just continue for another couple of goes. We did mainly Annamaya Kosha yesterday, which was the gross physical body, the food body. Now we're looking at the subtle body, which is made up more of the Pranayama, which kind of bridges both, and the Manamaya. The Manamaya is the mental body. Take finish this round with your Ma. And then change your mudra on your hands to Dhyana mudra. So Dhyana mudra is what you see Prince Charles and the politicians do all the time. You put the thumb tip, the index tip, the tip of your middle, tip of your ring, and tip of your pinky fingers together, and make that sort of bridge effect there. So we're bridging things today with the Pranamaya Kosha, our breath, our energy. In this, we're going to start and we're going to do 2 more rounds on the exhales, but on each one, keep your thumbs together, but on each different word, choose to start on your index finger, maybe, or your pinky finger, and work down the fingers with each one. Does that make sense? So you would do Sa, open the next one, Ta, Na, Ma. So it's just bringing the fingertips together with each word. So take a couple of rounds doing that. So now you're going to have to connect much more your mind and your physical body, because you have to kind of coordinate what's going on here while you're still using the sound and the resonance of Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. So it's starting to be a little bit like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. So when you're doing this, we're already doing a moving meditation. We're already connecting the mind and the body and stilling the mind a little bit. The mind causes a lot of our physical issues. Whether it just be lack of coordination and banging into things, or whether it be disease of some sort, the mind is at the back of all of this. And this is the thought process of the way that we were viewed in ancient practice in yoga, which has been brought forward. Western world tends to use dualism a little bit more. Just continue while you're doing this. Dualism is more looking at the body and the mind as being separate things. Here we're looking at us being built as different layers of the same thing. So everything is affecting each other. Everything flows into each other. There's no distinct line between them all particularly. The energies in the breath, or in the prana, sorry, not the breath. The prana is the energy body. All those energies in there, which I'll speak about at another point, are connected with everything in the mind or in the physical body. And if the energies are directed in the wrong way, then both parts of these layers, the physical and the mind body, will get very out of sorts. Okay, so let go of your, if you haven't already, let go of your mantra after the finishing the round with the Ma. And then just close your eyes still. Sit your hands just on your knees. And I'm going to say those meanings again, and you choose what they would mean for you. Which do you feel more comfortable with? And then think of that as we progress through the class. Keep those meanings in your head as you say Sata Nama as we progress through. So the meanings again are birth or beginning for Sa. The meaning for Ta would be either existence or life. The meaning for Na is death or transformation or change. Changing up, really, rather than just change. And Ma is rebirth, beginning again. And if you want to take it a little bit further, experiencing the joy of the infinite, which is a bit of a long phrase to keep saying in your head. So rebirth or restart, however you want to use that. So try and work what you think what's best for you in those words as we go on. Okay, so just sitting here and eyes still closed, become aware of any physical blocks or tension or stress that you can feel in yourself. We do know these things. You may feel you've got a stiff neck, maybe tight shoulders, maybe your hips are feeling a little bit cranky this morning. It may be your breathing, it may be your chest that's holding you back. And then become aware of any mental blocks that you may feel. So there may be stuff going on in your head that's feeling very heavy. It may be that something's running all the time. Maybe too open, one of the channels in there, and you just can't close it down. It may not be a block, it may be the reverse. Just being aware of these things. Okay, so we're going to come to a moving meditation now. So sitting here, you want to take your right leg and move your left leg to wherever you feel balanced with it, and take your right leg up. We're doing rock the baby. So we're lifting our right leg, we're tucking our arm either under or round, holding the right foot, but keeping that foot flexed so that the knee's not torquing. And then all we're doing is rocking. Just a gentle rock back and forward. Taking it easy, moving it slowly, holding it gently. It's a baby, supposedly. Thinking of our Sa. So as you do this, take 1 or 2 rounds, however many you can fit in my talking. In half happy baby here, just beginning with Sa Ta Nama. Maybe you want to do it in your head now. I don't mind how you do it. It's up to you. So just thinking of Sa Ta Nama on your exhale. So it would be 4 breaths or 8 breaths you would be taking here. But keep them nice and slow. Just feel that energy that you're also moving around in your right hip. So try and keep everything else still now as you're doing this, apart from the mantra in your head or out loud. Except all we're moving is that right hip joint, just gently rocking it backwards and forwards. And then when you finish your round of mantras, or even if you don't want to finish it completely, stop on one that you're happy with, bring your legs down to the floor, stick your legs away from you, using your hands to support your point and flex. And then bring your right leg in then into seated half Appanasana. So hands can be behind your thighs or in front of your shins. Drawing your foot, make sure your hip and your heel feels in line. So your foot's not in here or out there. It's in line with your hip. And then think about lifting up through from the belly, lifting up through the spine. Finding that length, letting the shoulders soften a little bit, flexing the other foot to switch it on. And just breathe here for a couple of seconds. Won't do a mantra yet. And then lift up through the crown, tuck the chin, tuck the belly, and roll gently downwards. So your head will be going kind of to the side of the bent leg. So rolling down gently into half hedgehog here. Quite a closed feeling. We're back looking towards our physical body. Eyes closed if you're comfortable with it. Find that mantra and take 4 breaths here. So Sata Nama once you will be doing. If you're not comfortable with the mantra, or if it's doing nothing for you, just breathe. We don't always connect to the same things, remember. It's not a problem if you don't. You've not failed or done anything wrong. Okay, at the end of that one, just roll up carefully from the bottom of your spine. Take that leg away from you, have a little shake. And then we're using this left leg again as balance, and we're doing half happy baby. Now you can bring your strap in here if you're more comfortable, because you can use the strap round your right foot and hold it up in half happy baby. Otherwise, if you're happy with it, pop your hand round your outside edge of your foot, cross your shin with your arm so that your leg then begins to go out the way. Flex that foot, keep the foot flexed, and then you're drawing that knee back underneath your arm here. So it's going to the side of your body, up towards your shoulder really, behind, but outside of your body. And the other leg's just doing its own thing, balancing you basically. And in this position, we're going to take the mantra once in a round. As you do it, we're going to go sa and let the foot slightly away from us on the exhale, and draw it back in on the inhale. So you would inhale and then you'd start with sa, let the foot go away from you. Inhale, bring the foot back towards you. Ta, the second one, na and ma. Just keeping that connection with just not working with the physical body, letting the mind get involved, letting it feel it's a little bit in charge here. That's not what the mental body is all about. Mental body does a lot of things, which I'll go into in a second. But after you finish that one, take your foot down to the floor. Come onto your hands and knees. So come over to the side. And then just pad your hands a little bit. So lifting one, then the other. Keep that engagement through the front body. And then pad the knees. So lift the knees up one at a time. And then see if you can do the opposite ones. So come to stillness and lift your right hand, left knee, and the same thing on the other side. So just padding, but diagonally. So a little bit more coordination involved here. So the mental body is very involved with our movements, our balance, our spatial awareness. Although the physical body is what's moving, it's the mental body that's moving it. And we know that is a fact, medically as well. They would all agree with that. The movements are coming from your sensory nerves, etc. And your motor skills. Okay, so from that point, we're coming back round onto our bottom, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So one round in rock the baby, first of all, on the left-hand side. So find your baby, pick it up gently. Bring it as close to you as comfortable. Again, try not round too far down. Try and lift up so you've got space, and then breathe. So 4 breaths here with Satanama, or birth, life, death, transformation, rebirth, whatever words resonate. And rocking gently. Start with little rocks and then taking it a little bit further. I can find one of my blockages here straight away. My hip clicks on this side badly. So there's obviously something in there that's not quite allowing energy to flow through. It's not open properly. So just gentle oiling of this area helps it without being too forceful. After your 4th round, let go of the foot, bring the foot down, stretch the feet away, do some pointing and flexing again. Then bringing in that left leg into half Apanasana. Remember your hip heel alignment there. Remember your length through your front of your body. Lift up and open. And then lift up through the crown and roll forward into half hedgehog on this side. So your head's going down and forward, down by the side of your leg. 4 breaths here. Using the mantra again, if you're comfortable with it. Nice side over this. We're doing good physically as well. It's a gentle awakening, as I said this morning. And then bringing that foot forward and coming into half happy baby, either with or without the strap. So do remember to flex this foot, though. Don't get yourself into position just to be able to hold the foot. If you can't hold it comfortably, either hold maybe your ankle or put the strap round. And you'll get more from doing it that way, using something else to help you get into alignment rather than getting yourself into a fankle, as we say up north. Just inhaling, exhaling, drawing the leg back and saying the mantra. So inhaling, oh sorry, I did it the other way. Oh, whichever way feels right for you. I did it the other way the last time, but this time I've decided to go the other way with the mantra. In your head's fine, as I say, self-consciousness. You don't need a crowd of people around you to make yourself self-conscious. Just be aware if you're feeling a little bit like that, that's fine. Doesn't always make sense, but it is fine. Bring your foot down to the floor, come back into tabletop, and take a figure of 8 here. Starting with your hips moving in little circles, maybe your shoulders going in circles, and then move into the figure of 8. So draw that figure of 8 as if you had a pencil on your belly. Your shoulders are also having to move into that top half of the 8 here. And just notice if there's anything left over from what you've just done around your waist, maybe in your lower, in your top of your hips, and the back of your body. I've done a lot there, but the little movements can mean a lot. Go in the other direction if you haven't already in your figure of 8. And see if you can do one round of Satanama in your figure of 8s. So figure of 8 alone is enough for me to have trouble coordinating, particularly when I go in the opposite direction from what I naturally would do. So if I then start to bring the mantra in, again, it's really starting to get a bit more complicated and coordinated for me. But that's good training. And it also gives the mind that little bit of space, that mental body gets to do what it's supposed to do rather than have all those other thoughts going on in your head. You're focusing on what the mental body, the subtle body, is supposed to be there to support and help the physical body. Okay, so then come to stillness. We're going to come into puppy pose now. So if you want to grab your bricks or a cushion for your head, then that would be helpful. We're taking it gently. So you may not need a brick, then please don't use it if you don't want to. But if you do, take your hips under your hips over your knees as if you're in tabletop. But then walk your hands forward, keeping the hips still over the knees. We don't move the back end of us here. You can come down then just onto your elbows if that's enough, and pop your head on your brick. And we're thinking back bend here. So when you're there, if you're already supported through your head and your elbows, then you can let your chest move downwards towards the floor. For those of you that don't need the brick, you've got your head on the floor. You can stay with elbows bent then, or you can stretch your arms ahead of yourself. And you need to think long body here. We want to think long body, and it's called melting heart in America. So that gives you a clue of the sensation you should be feeling. Make sure your hips aren't tipping forward. Keep them back over your knees. Keep that stability up there. And then allow your heart, it maybe can come down to the floor. You can maybe even get onto your chin, but please don't crunch the back of your neck. And you find yourself wherever you get to. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, and one round of Satanama, so 4 breaths here. Inhaling, exhaling, using the mantra. Probably in your head's easier. If you're trying to say it here, particularly with your throat open, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. So maybe just let the sound resonate in your head. Not quite silent yoga like Anne did, but if everybody was doing this quietly in their head, nobody would know. It would still seem like silent yoga. After your fourth one, bring yourself up carefully. Come into all fours again. Touch your toes together. And then sit back into wide leg child's pose. And bring your elbows to the floor, head to the brick or the floor. And then extend your arms if you're comfortable into extended arms. So lifting the elbows off the floor. Now that's quite strong on your neck and your head. So if it's too strong, use your elbows as your forearms as your support as well. Take 4 breaths here, using your mantra. So the thought of the cycle of life. I love that song in The Lion King. The circle of life, they say. This is what this mantra tells us about, one of the lessons of it. But it always makes me think of the circle of life. And of course, in some practices and in some traditions, they do believe in rebirth and reincarnation, so that circle continues on, maybe not physically, but the spirit or the mental body is part of you that would move on, is what the teaching was. Okay, so once you're ready, come up to tabletop. You're going to take cat-cow once and then dynamic cat-cow. So when you're ready, breathe in neutral. If you're not with me yet, then please take it in your own time. Don't rush through. Exhaling into cat, lifting up through the heart. Inhaling forward into cow. Tipping the tail, lifting the heart forward. Exhaling this time into dynamic cat. So rolling backwards. Just as far as is comfortable. Don't need to sit right down. Elbows then come to the floor, and we draw that heart forward along the floor again, a little bit like the puppy feeling. Back up to the start. Take one more round. So inhaling into normal cat. So tuck the tail, lift the heart, allow the head to roll and look backwards. Exhaling into cow. No, sorry, gone the wrong way. Exhaling into cat. If your breath's wrong because of me, then please just readjust to what suits you. Into cat in dynamic pose. So extending through the armpits there, and then dropping the elbows and moving back up into cow. And then we're going to sit back onto our heels. And if you've got both blocks, you might want them here. We're going into Garland pose, Malasana. But if you might find it's more comfortable to have your blocks. So from kneeling, we're just coming up onto 1 foot at a time. And then we're taking the feet out as if you were doing a baby goddess. And either feet on the floor, or you might want to, tuck the blocks under your heels, which gives you that little bit more support and lifts you a bit more. So if you want to do it in an easeful way this morning without stretching out through the feet, even if you know you can't get down, you've got your feet turned out slightly. So make sure your feet are turned out, because that will then open the inner thighs. If your feet are facing forward, you can't do that. So turning the feet out will open your thighs that little bit more. Same thing as yesterday in Goddess, we roll the undercarriage forward so that your feeling is of opening this area of your inner thigh. And then elbows, or just above the elbows, upper arms just above the elbows, just on the inside of the soft part of your knee, not on the joint, and just gently use them to lever yourself open. Hands here can be in Anjali Mudra. So tip the hands up the way then, so roll the fingers up. And then just find your breath. So thinking here of just sitting down a little bit more so that you can then open up your body a little bit more. And just breathe, closing your eyes. Focus on Anjali Mudra. Focus on the inner you here. Try to forget what you're doing in this pose physically and just focus internally. So the Manamaya, the mental body, which is a subtle body more, one of the things it covers is the 5 senses. So the touch, smell, sight, oh goodness, my sense of gone this morning, taste and sound. It also, as I said, covers movement, balance, spatial awareness. It's our sensory body. It's the thing that covers our sensory nerves and motor skills and activities. So when that's out of kilter, you'll soon know it, because you can't balance when you're doing yoga. You bang into things, you're not with it. Your 5 senses are not acute. So these were old, maybe explanations, if you want to put it that way, but maybe it helps you to understand yourself. Maybe you don't recognize it per se and don't want to swallow it all, but you know, it may help you just understand yourself and the inner you that is there. Everybody can feel that, hopefully. Okay, so then coming out of this carefully, opening the eyes, coming out, taking the bricks away from you, don't need them again. Coming down onto your knees, tucking your toes, if it's comfortable, to open the soles of your feet. If not, just sit with your feet flat on the floor and come up to kneeling. So I'm going to tuck my toes. Change the screen a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so hands in Anjali Mudra again. We're going to work with the sensory perception connection here. So as we breathe in, we're going to just watch the hands, follow them up, lifting up, looking towards the hands. Maybe you can take them a little further back and go into a little bit of a back bend. Exhaling, we're going to draw the hands down, watch them as you sit down again into kneeling. Bring them back to heart center. So take a couple of those. Inhaling and lifting up through your knees. You're watching the hands all the way. Keep that connection visually with your movement. And then sitting back down. So we know this is proprioception that we're working with. Your body knowing where it is in space, knowing how to move without having to look all the time. So this time we're going to, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. If not, half close them, or just don't direct your vision at your hands. And take the same movement as you breathe in. Eyes closed if you can. And find that movement. You're watching it without your eyes. You're feeling it as you move up and down here. So you can your mental body is doing all the work for you, and it's working still with your inner eyes. That spatial awareness thing that you can have without actually even looking directly at what you're doing. When you go back up the next time up to the top, stop at the top, take a breath, and then open your eyes and look at your hands again and see that connection. The difference it makes is very small when you've already tuned into yourself. We don't need to see what we're doing to know what we're doing. Back down to the bottom, and then release the hands. And then we're going to step forward with the right foot. We're going to take the same process. You can untuck the back toes if you want and go more into low lunge situation, or you can stay kneeling on the back leg and the toes tucked, whichever you'd like here. Choice is a great thing. When you're ready, hands in Anjali Mudra. Take one up, looking at your hands, lifting into a little bit of a back bend, opening, coming back down, rolling forward maybe this time to look downwards. And then let go the Anjali Mudra and sweep the hands out the way and take them up above the head this time in a big circle up to the top. And then rolling back down through Anjali Mudra to look down at your hands. So sweeping the hands out, bringing them together and bringing them back down. Watching what you're doing this one last time, then close your eyes if you can and try that. So close your eyes and sweep out. See if you can connect the movement more. I found I was going to race ahead there. So my head was going to come up before my arms. Try and connect your arms to your head movement here without your eyes open. So proprioception has to get involved. Spatial awareness. Can you feel the air on the tips of your fingers? Do you know what's at the end of your fingers? How near the wall you are, etc. Rolling back down. And then take that foot back. And either here, hands on the floor into just tabletop, or if you'd like to come with me, come up through to a gentle down dog. All we're going to do here is bring the other foot forward into low lunge. So you can either rock back in tabletop or lift your left leg up and move it through and come down into your low lunge or kneeling with tucked toes. Same thing, but this time we'll go the other way. So this time we're going to take the arms up and then we're going to release them and open out in that big circle, bringing the back round. Take 2 eyes open, 2 eyes closed. With your eyes closed, feel your feet, press into them gently on the inhale, lift up. While the movement's still going on without you having to think too much about it, connect to your feet, feel the balance, feel the wobble if you've got your eyes closed. As you move, you have to adjust through the ankle. One more. Adjust through the toes if you've got them tucked. And then release. Come back now down to sitting. Bring your strap in again. We took this yesterday, Janu Sirsasana, too early for that one. It's hard for a Scottish person with a lisp to say that. Okay, so eyes open first of all. Take your right foot in, flex it, put it against your thigh. Take your left foot in the strap. Inhale when you're ready, lift up through your crown, find the length. Exhale, fold over your left hip hinge and reaching your heart forward towards your knee and your head towards your toes. And inhale back up to the top. Eyes open. Take one more, eyes open. So lift up, moving forward, using your strap. Maybe you can go down the strap a little bit more and go a little bit further this time. Just be careful of lower backs. Back up to the top. Close the eyes this time. Inhale. Move towards that flexed foot. Eyes closed. See how far your mind thinks you're reaching and you're actually probably not. Inhaling back up to the top. Take one more. Exhaling forward. Hold on this one this time. Just hold for a breath or two here. Maybe drop the strap. Eyes closed, reach forward and take a hold of your foot if you can reach it. If not, hold your shin instead of the strap. Lift a little bit more through the crown and see if you can reach a little bit further forward. Open your eyes, look where you are compared to your leg, where you thought you were. And then using some support from your hands if you need it, slowly roll back up, stack yourself back up to the top. If you need to shuffle your leg out in between, then please do, otherwise cross to the other side. So same thing, other side, same practice. So lifting up through, eyes open, moving forward a couple of times and back on the breath, using the exhale to release. So again, we're using the pranayama here to work with us. Pranayama is slightly different from Pranamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha is about 5 energies. It's 5 life energies, which I'll go into maybe on Thursday. That might be a class then, but that's slightly different from the thought of the breath practice. But breath practice isn't about what's just in the breath. There is life energy coming in that, but it's a slightly different concept, pranamaya. All very complicated, as I said, this stuff. Close the eyes if you haven't already and moving forward. Take one and back up and then back down with your eyes closed. Physically notice if there's anything different on either side. When you come down this time, find that length in your body moving forward. Your head goes towards your foot. And then taking a hold of your shin or your foot here. I notice straight away, can't quite reach with quite the same ease. So obviously this is my tighter side, which I need to work on. So physically, these movements tell you something about yourself. Mentally, they also do, because some of us are already saying, what's next, what's next? That's not the same as the inner you, remember. That's the chattering monkeys that you've got in your head. And we've all got those. Inhale back up to the top. Let go of the strap and come to stretching your legs out in front of you. Take your hands behind you one at a time. And then lift your heart up in the inhale and just rolling the body forward into a little bit of a back bend, just to counterpose what you've done on the lower back, particularly here. Take a couple of breaths in this position, in this opposite position, to balance. So balance isn't all about just staying on your feet. It can be balancing movements one to the other direction. Balance in life. If your mind and your mental body isn't balanced, then you won't be balanced. And that can then cause the physical body to have illness or upset. Okay, so then soften back down. Open the legs up now into brain's going Upavista Konasana. So wide legs, in other words. We've got flexed feet here again. If your legs are here, that doesn't matter. If they're here, it doesn't matter. If you'd rather have them bent, it doesn't matter. So wherever is comfortable for you, all we're going to do is pop the hands on the floor here, close our eyes, tuck the tummy, tuck the chin, rolling down then towards your hands, so looking downwards towards your hands. If your eyes are closed though, mind you, so we're just rolling forward. You should feel a little bit of a stretch through the inner thighs if your legs are extended and your feet are flexed. If it's too much for you, then bend your knees and that won't go through your thighs the same way. So in this position, rolling up into your kind of hedgehog position, so lifting up into a cat back. And then just one at a time, eyes closed, just walking your fingers forward to stretch out through your left arm ahead of you. And then walk it back. Keeping the fingers attached, walk the right hand forward, rolling the body down a little bit further, maybe to reach a little bit further. Walking the hand back, eyes closed, take both fingertips and walk both hands forwards now. Just be careful, you might feel you're lacking in support. So if you do, pop the hands to the floor. Don't walk on the fingertips, but rolling forward, keeping those feet flexed, keeping the inner thighs rolled out. Moving forward to wherever you feel comfortable in extended arms. Bring your hands to the floor. Find your mantra. Take 4 breaths. Sata Nama. Let go of the flexed feet maybe for a second as you continue the breath practice. Just let your legs relax a little bit more. Feel your body give as the breath works with it. The breath, as I say, is your bridge between mind and body, often in yoga, particularly when we're moving. And gently using your hands to stack yourself back up to the top. Take it easy, take it slowly. Big back opener, that one. And then come down into Savasana to finish class. So Savasana, the translation of this word, so Savasana, lying down on your back with your feet sort of hip width of the mat, feet turned out, shoulders tucked under, palms facing up, fingers open and space in your hands there. So you should, with your shoulders tucked under slightly, feel a nice space across your collarbones and upper chest then as well. Head is just settled, but lift your head gently and reach a little bit and then sit the head back down. You should feel a bit of a longer neck then. And then let everything sink. So inhale and exhale yourself into the floor. So Shavasana is corpse pose. I don't like using that word because I think it's not very friendly, but corpse pose is the translation. And it was the nearest state to death, this pose, when they originally used it. That was the thought process. It's the one that you can find that nearest point to the connection with bliss as well, perhaps, is the thought process. The physicality goes, and your mind can become more connected with what's around it and what's outside and what you're part of. not just contained in this physical body. It's also a lovely way to finish class by just relaxing into this. So Manamaya, the mental body, the difference between it and your gross physical body, your Annamaya Kosha, is that the gross physical body is mortal. It will stop working at some point in us all. Because partly that our life energy stops, so that when the Pranayama, that next layer, stops working, it stops feeding the physical body, and the physical body will stop at the end of our life. You'll take your last breath, and that will be, your physical body will be finished. But the Manamaya Kosha, the mental body, the subtle body, is connected with our soul in teachings, and it is immortal. But it does shut down temporarily during our physical lifetime, and that's during deep sleep to regenerate. So because it governs all our sensory nerves, etc., it needs to have a rest and reboot. So it's a bit like a computer at night going to sleep. So the Manamaya shuts down temporarily, whereas hopefully your body doesn't throughout your life. And that's why sleep is really important, to recharge that layer of us that needs to be working efficiently to make the physical body work efficiently, etc. So one more time in your head, on 4 breaths, say Sata Nama to yourself or out loud. Birth, life, transformation and rebirth. Thinking of these layers of your body. And then after you've finished that, let go. You can stay in Shavasana if you'd like to. Otherwise, waken your body up again by having a stretch, or taking your knees to your chest, or a rock, or whatever you feel you need to do, just to bring some energy back through you, and then sit up back into Sukhasana to finish. So there, nice easeful class, everybody. Peeling away the layers slowly this week. So three layers we've gone through of the koshas. The other ones get a little bit ethereal. I may touch on them slightly on Thursday just to tell you, but they're more difficult. You've started towards it through meditation is the way towards the next layers, but they're deeper. Remember, we're going inside you here. So we've got through 3 layers. We're not done too badly. So in the practice, thank you everybody. Just remember that energy cannot be destroyed. This was said by Albert Einstein, by the way, and anybody that's seen Oppenheimer recently will have recognized some of his thoughts. Energy cannot be destroyed. That energy running through us cannot be destroyed like any energy around us. It can only be transformed. So on that, the words of Albert Einstein, let's finish class with Namaste.